The book of Genesis is a complex and multi-layered text that tells the story of creation, humanity, and the early history of the Jewish people. Here, I will provide a detailed overview of the book, chapter by chapter, to give you a better understanding of its contents. Chapter 1. The creation of the world. The book of Genesis begins with the story of creation, which is told in a poetic and symbolic language. God creates the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day, he rests. God creates light, the sky, the earth, and the seas, and then populates them with vegetation, animals, and humans. God creates humans in his own image, male and female, and gives them the task of stewardship over the earth. Chapter 2. The Garden of Eden. This chapter offers a second account of creation, focusing specifically on the creation of the first human, Adam, and his wife, Eve. God places them in the Garden of Eden, a paradise filled with all kinds of plants and trees, and instructs them not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. However, they disobey God and eat the fruit, leading to their expulsion from the garden. Chapter 3. The Fall of Humanity. This chapter describes the consequences of Adam and Eve's disobedience, including their shame and expulsion from the garden. God pronounces punishments on the serpent, the woman, and the man, including pain in childbirth and the need to work for a living. However, the chapter also offers a promise of redemption, as God promises to send a Savior who will defeat the serpent. Chapter 4. Cain and Abel. This chapter tells the story of Cain and Abel, the sons of Adam and Eve. Cain becomes jealous of Abel and murders him, leading to his own exile. The chapter explores themes of sin, jealousy, and murder, as well as the idea of God's mercy and protection. Chapter 5. The Descendants of Adam. This chapter provides a genealogy of Adam and his descendants, tracing the line from Adam to Noah. It emphasizes the theme of the continuity of humanity, as well as the idea of sin and death. Chapters 6 to 9. Noah and the Flood. These chapters tell the story of Noah and the Great Flood, in which God decides to cleanse the world of its wickedness and starts over with a new creation. God chooses Noah to build an ark and save himself, his family, and a pair of every kind of animal. The flood recedes, and God makes a covenant with Noah, promising to never again destroy the world with a flood. The chapter also introduces the concept of sacrifice and the idea of God's grace. Chapter 10. The Table of Nations. This chapter provides a genealogy of Noah's descendants, tracing the origins of different nations and peoples. It emphasizes the theme of diversity, as well as the idea that all people are descended from a common ancestor. Chapter 11. The Tower of Babel. This chapter tells the story of the Tower of Babel, in which humanity becomes arrogant and attempts to build a tower that reaches to heaven. God responds by confusing their language and scattering them across the earth. The chapter explores themes of pride, disobedience, and the consequences of sin. Chapter 12 to 25. Abraham and his descendants. These chapters focus on the story of Abraham, who God chooses to be the father of a great nation. God promises to bless him and his descendants, and Abraham demonstrates his faith by obeying God's commands. The chapters also include the stories of Abraham's wife Sarah, their son Isaac, and Isaac's son Jacob, who is later renamed Israel. The chapter explores themes of faith, obedience, and the importance of family and lineage. Chapter 26 to 27. Isaac and his family. These chapters continue the story of Isaac, Abraham's son, and his family. Isaac's wife, Rebekah, gives birth to twin sons, Jacob and Esau. Esau sells his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of stew, and Jacob tricks Isaac into giving him the blessing intended for Esau. The chapters explore themes of deception, family conflict, and the consequences of deceit. Chapter 28 to 36. Jacob's journey and family. These chapters continue the story of Jacob, who flees from his brother Esau and has a dream in which God promises to bless him and his descendants. Jacob marries Leah and Rachel, 2 sisters, and has 12 sons. The chapters also include the story of Jacob wrestling with an angel and receiving a new name, Israel. The chapters explore themes of faith, perseverance, and family relationships. Chapter 37 to 50. Joseph and his brothers in Egypt. These final chapters of Genesis focus on the story of Joseph, Jacob's son, who is sold into slavery in Egypt by his jealous brothers. Joseph rises to prominence in Egypt and is able to reunite with his family, forgiving his brothers for their betrayal. The chapters explore themes of forgiveness, reconciliation, and God's providence in the lives of his people. Overall, The book of Genesis is a rich and complex text that explores themes of creation, humanity, sin, redemption, faith, and family. It provides a foundation for understanding the rest of the Bible and has been a source of inspiration and guidance for countless generations of readers.